This is Adam Watson.
This is Trinity Watson.
And this is Ghost Assassin in the Cards, the mini comic. The first ever mini comic that's ever existed for Ghost Assassin. This cover, which is one of my favorite Ghost Assassin covers of all time, has been done since 2012. Ghost Assassin is a cursed title where it takes for friggin' ever to get any issues out for one reason or another. It's like so cursed. I'm gonna have to do a video in the next couple weeks that actually shows like the publishing history of Ghost Assassin so that you can see all the different editions and versions that have existed over the years. Because while this is the first mini comic, it's far from the first comic to ever exist of this. But I've had this story done for a long time. The thing with Ghost Assassin is I like to do A stories and B stories with each title, right? And for issue number 2, in the cards is supposed to be the A story, and the B story is Origin. First time I did Origin, I hated what I created. What I wrote was completely subpar. Like everything just went horrible with it, right? So I redid that a long time ago, and then I tried coloring it, couldn't get the coloring right. Finally figured out something with the inking, thanks to Pat, who's the artist on Mini Slingers. Now that one is coming together in a way that I really like. So issue number 2 is very, very close to being ready to go. But in the meantime, I had this one, and we've been wanting to play around with different formats. So I decided, hey, why don't we make this one of the first mini comics that we do? So let's go ahead and take a look in there. The artwork on this one is done by Joel Kotajar, and it's colored by CC Dela Cruz, which, if that name sounds familiar to you, she is Brian Pulido's, I think, main, if not main, then frequent at least, colorist on Lady Death these days. This was something she did long before she landed the job as the Lady Death colorist. I think this was one of her earliest coloring jobs, but as you can see, she came out as a fully formed colorist even back then. The plot is by Michael Colbert, who I really need to send some comp copies of this to. I'm running behind on all that kind of stuff. I know he's been impatiently waiting for this one for years, rightfully so. So he submitted this story to me way back. One of the problems with Ghost Assassin is that Prelude, the very first story that I did for it, was really, really well received by fans, by other industry people. There were professional creators who were telling me how great it was. That made me really nervous for some reason about releasing a second issue, and I completely fucked up on it. Origin was not up to par when I first released it. Not anything to do with the original creative team, except for me. The writing was not what I should have been capable of. I just messed up the whole thing, and because of that, I hit like kind of a stuttering point where, hold on, stay on that page for a minute. I hit a stuttering point where I wanted to keep creating Ghost Assassin comics, but didn't know where to go from there, right? So I put out an ad on Digital Webbing, which is a website. I don't know if Digital Webbing is still going, but it was for a while, where they had a board that you could hire creatives off of, right? I found a lot of my creators that way. Joel Kotajar and CC were both found that way. Anyway, I put a thing up there about buying stories from people. Like, they submit to me using the comics that I was publishing at the time, which were Ghost Assassin, The Pauper, Chronicles of Von Helsing. And if I liked it, I'd buy it, turn it into something that fit within my universe. Michael is one of only 2, I think, who submitted stories to me that I liked well enough. This is not exactly what he submitted to me, which is why it says plot by. But all of what he put in there, the themes, all that, are still very much intact. It's kind of funny, though. One of the guys who submitted to me, he did this whole story where David was just sitting there smoking a joint, telling Todd, who's his dead friend, standing behind him in panel number 1, telling him all these stoner stories. And I was like, what is this? What are you doing? And I was like, there's no indicators that the characters smoke weed. Why did you suddenly have him do that? Well, this could be a story for anybody. That's a bad story, by the way. Don't ever have it be a case where it can be a story for anybody. you should never be able to just shoehorn Spider-Man into a Wolverine story. A Wolverine story should be for Wolverine. Anyway, when you look at this, a lot of this is Joel and a lot of it is Cece in terms of the artwork. Like, I know that the mini comic probably loses a little bit of it, but when you take a look at like the crystal ball, that's just a circular crystal ball when Joel drew it. Looked great, nothing wrong with it, but when she colored it, she made it actually look like a legit crystal ball on paper, which is awesome. And then the background in panel number 1, where you see like the wallpaper effects, those are all something that were added in with the color phase. So, she really elevated Joel's artwork, which is saying a lot because Joel is a phenomenal talent. So, her managing to elevate it, that says a lot about her as a colorist. Let's go ahead and flip. Yeah, so the basic story in this one, I have to come up with reasons why David is performing hits all the time. That sounds like something that's really easy. Oh, there's plenty of reasons for people to die, right? But when somebody's going to spend potentially tens of thousands of dollars to have somebody else murdered, there's got to be a damn good reason for it, right? It's not always easy. Within the cards, what I liked about this one is that it was when Michael sent me the plot, it's a fortune teller being killed. That's who the hit was about. And so I just kind of took that and ran with it to a degree. I'd have to actually go back through and read his script to remember what was him and what was me, to be honest. But the whole premise in this one is that David shows up and he's going to kill this guy, but the guy doesn't know why, obviously, despite the fact he's a fortune teller. He apparently can't see the future. There's little nods in here to my friends, too. If you notice, I don't know if it shows up on these pages because the size are printed out, but you'll be able to see it when it's printed at full size as issue number 2. On David's coat, it says the name Alan. That's after Alan Bennett, creator of Johnny Vega and Corpse Cop, characters like that. Mm-hmm. And then the guy that he is there to perform the hit on, his name's Jason, but his name as a psychic is Professor Ozark. That's after Jason Zachary Potts and his character, Professor Ozark. So in these pages, what we're figuring out is that David's there to kill him because he's a child murderer, which seems like a pretty damn valid reason to kill him. Now, I do like Ghost Assassin stories to have completely nonsensical reasons as well for David to kill people, things that might be a reason to you or I to have someone killed, but maybe to other people, right? This is more of a story that I think anybody can relate to. Child killers. I don't think anybody's going to feel too much sympathy for this guy in this.
No.
So these pages, I really like the way that they turned out. David lays the gun right there. It's right within reach. But unfortunately, you got a Garrett to your neck. You're just not going to grab it in time when somebody who's trained to kill you wants to kill you, Mm-hmm. So I think Joel did an amazing job on this. There's so much.
I love the facial expressions.
Yeah, the facial expressions are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he conveys so much through the facial emotions, which is everything I want in a Ghost Assassin comic. Because while you might think from the title that this is just an action-packed thing, it's really not. There's a lot of drama in this. Because that's apparently mainly what I write is drama. Mm-hmm. And then
look at the colors on
David,
this.
Yeah, Cece did a great job. And you see Professor Ozark in the window there.
Mm-hmm.
Once David gets done with the hit, he comes outside, and as you see, there's ghosts from different eras waiting for him out there. Of course, Todd's behind him, because with David as always is Todd. Crowd of ghosts is there, and he has no idea why.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know why? I'm not going to tell you right now.
Jerk.
I know. But then there's this guy who has the black eye, and I know you can't tell because a bunch of the ghosts that are his historical ghosts also have black eyes. But this particular ghost right here, he's supposed to look like he has an eye wound. I don't know that that came across 100% only because I decided the other ghosts should have black eyes and they were done kind of similarly. But on the last page here, where you see the people participating in things that are a little bit, less than savory, that's the back interior cover. And that is actually page number 1 of this story. But since it wasn't 100% necessary, I didn't put it as the interior of the cover on this one. Instead, just put it as kind of like a bonus pinup at the end because I was limited to 12 pages in the mini comic to keep it at the price point I wanted it at. And I still wanted it to be included because it's a beautiful page. But this will return to page 1 in future editions, whether it's collected edition or as the issue number 2 single. And then you'll see one of my most common things that I do right there when I'm doing graphic design. I took one of the panels prior to coloring, slap it on the back. And this book obviously is for mature readers. You could probably tell that, but I probably should have said that ahead of time. Is there anything you want to say or ask about this book?
No.
No? All right, so this mini comic is available at some of the locations that we distribute to through Comics Mainstream, which is a distribution company I also own. With Comics Mainstream, we're building a new, better version of the comics newsstand market. So if you live in Oregon, you could probably find a location near you that sells this comic. Don't live in Oregon, it's not a problem. Any business can order through Comics Mainstream. So if you want a comic shop to order this for you, they can. You want a bookstore to order it for you, no problem. Just tell them to contact Comics Mainstream. If for some reason you don't have a retailer in your area that can get it, you can also order this through our website. Just go to darkslinger.com, hit the store tab. It'll lead you right to it. Or you can even find it in our eBay store. In the days and weeks to come, we're going to be posting more content related to Darkslinger Comics, titles distributed by Comics Mainstream. We're even going to be doing some deep dives into comics that have nothing to do with Comics Mainstream or Darkslinger. Me as a writer, you as an artist. So,
like and subscribe and check out our channel for more content.